Okay, so we are here for yet another vlog at the famous Gold Watch. So let's talk about completing things. Been working on this album for a year now, and the challenge than anything is less the starting of it, but the finishing of it. Let's talk about it. Doing the high ones, doing the high harmonies, horror of all horrors, the harmony, the pain, the mathematics, www, very high. So as ever, with trying to finish anything, there's a million tiny little jobs. The most important thing is just to get into the damn studio. You're running, my friend. Look where it takes me. Look where the sun meets the sky. Feel what it means to be alive. Into whatever it is that you're trying to do, get in there and attack all those small jobs one by one. That's just the price, that's the price of the life. That's just the price, that's the price of the life. Yeah. Making progress, aren't we, Bob? So just trying to get into a state of meditation rather than resistance. It's so easy in these last segments to be resistant, and it's a meditation. It's just what you have to do. So we're trying to muscle out those last painful details. And the thing is, I think that the last 10% of any project is actually the hardest. I think it's between 89% and 90%. You just feel this huge resistance. You don't feel like you're going to get it over the line. And then psychologically, once you break that threshold, as you go into that 9%, and you realize that there's nothing to be done except to launch yourself at it, it shatters the resistance, and you get that final gust, that final win. So you just have to remember, if you're in a part of a project and you've gone so far, but you feel like your energy's waning, you feel like you're at the end of the line, you feel like your inspiration's dipping, you feel like your motivation's elsewhere, you have to remember it's just because you're just before that place where you can start seeing the finishing line. As soon as you see the finishing line, you get this upswing, this uprush, this energy, this power to get yourself over the line. Just at the moment we're in this part where we can see the finishing line, we're powering through. Coffee time. So when you're reaching that final part of the project, of course it's going to feel difficult at that point. Of course it is, because you're tired and you're at the point where you want things to get easier, you want it to finish. And that's the point where you really have to start digging in. Hell, that peak of that mountain, that's where the challenge is. It's when you've got to dig into those reserves that you don't even think that you have inside yourself. And sometimes, you feel like giving up. You're like, well, I'm never going to get there. And of course, you've just got to find those different reserves inside yourself. That spirit just to damn well go on. It's extraordinary how the whole project raises itself through the effort of this last 10%. And it's unbelievable how so much of the project comes to life through gritting out that last % or two. Look where the sun meets the sky. And it takes so much effort, and you have to keep on going there. You have to struggle through those moments as your best you can, because there is this point where you feel like you put so much effort in and the exhaustion is there and you can doubt your work, but suddenly through getting that last 5%, it all comes alive, and the majesty and the mystery and all the effort, it sort of re-highlights itself, and that's the reward of completion. This flat was, eh? Okay. Oh yeah. Down nature and okay. That's the uplift of an ending, and it is worth fighting for. So whatever stage you are in your project at this point of the year, keep in there, keep gutting out, keep believing. Oh my God. Child of nature. Yeah, we're gonna get there, guys. Okay, yeah, try again. Let's go and see what we've created. Can I hear that? Add some sensor. So we've managed to finish 3 songs today. I'm absolutely mind blown because it means that there are 11 songs completed for this album, meaning there's 1 more to go. Got a session booked in for next week. And that's all you can do, muscle out the last few yards. But I'm so proud of how everything is sounding. I'm very thankful for all the support that I've had along the way. Are you gonna stay, Alfie? So Leonardo da Vinci said that a work of art is never complete, never finished, it's only ever abandoned. And I think as you get into this last stretch, this, not the final quarter, but really that final percentile, there's also a danger zone because you're starting to question yourself. You're wondering, is it as good as you think that it could have been? Because that's sort of the sprint energy, that energy that comes at the start of something when you're on your way and you're on the call to adventure and life is renewing itself and you're getting so much information and new material and thoughts and you're inspired. And towards the end, there's that aspect of grind, there's that aspect of pushing through. And of course, your energy is fatigued at this point and you're like, oh God, where am I? Am I ever going to get it finished? And is it what I thought it might be? And I think one of the reasons why, Leonardo, during the last part of his life, he abandoned so many works of art, which, being Leonardo, they were still masterworks in their own way. And sometimes you have to remember that, like Massive Attack, say that unfinished symphony, the unfinished symphony is also important because that's a metaphor that you have to know when to let go. It's not the destiny of everything to be complete in terms of how you see it in your mind's eye. This idea of perfection can kill the potential of what something's to be because things need to be breathed and something, that element of incompletion leaves that human trace, that space where the imagination of the viewer or the audience interacts with the artwork. And I think nowadays, especially in music, so often everything's melodyne to death or re-rhythmed or tightened. And I think in this album, all the traces, all the life that's still in there, everything is analogued. And of course, in every aspect, trying to make the best that I could. Eventually, it is that symphony of imperfections that leads to the finality of the artwork. And I'm so glad that this will be an album with this celebration of the analog, with the human traces, with the desperation and the panic of the process captured, the air and the dust tethered to what you as the viewer will eventually hear. And today I kind of came in, I was like, wow, really getting to the end of the year, am I going to get this over the line? We managed to complete 3 songs today: Cosmic Skeletons, Dreams Are All We Have, and The Price of the Light. We are nearly there, and there is 1 more song to go. I've got to get the lyrics down, get it ready, but I feel like I'm in the final slipstream and somehow getting over the line. So I just want to say that wherever you're at in your project, or perhaps especially to you guys who are in this last percentile or just before that point where you're doubting yourself and you've been grinding out and you're in that spirit of doubt, remember that there's a great peace that comes from the act of finishing itself. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be this absolute embodiment of what you have in your mind's eye. Sometimes it's actually the human traces and what is not sort of wreaked and hammered to that point that there's no life left in it. You need the sketch in it. You need the flaw in the design. You need that sense of aspiration that is never quite fulfilled, because that is to be human. That is the poetry of our lives, that there is always that capacity that at the end everything has to be abandoned, and that its purest form is the form that you decide to leave it in. So whatever point you're at, try and finish whatever you're at. Try and get that goal and get to that sense of completion, because it's in that act of completion, that sense that done is better than perfect, that you also make space for new things to come into your life, and that you have that sense of fulfillment, and that indeed life can renew again, and that you can commit to whatever it is that is ahead for you in the future. So much love, everyone, and thank you for joining this whole madcap journey. We're nearly there, step by step.